What is up, my boys and girls? It's Kage, and welcome to my top 10 characters I would like to see in Super Smash Bros. Switch. Before we start, I would like to note that this list will be comprised of characters that have not been in the previous Super Smash Bros. Games, or have characters that have anything to do with characters that were featured in the games. So characters such as Waluigi, Daisy, and Knuckles will not be featured on this list. I can also make another video for those characters if you guys want. So for this list, I thought I should put characters that have not been in Super Smash Bros. Or have characters in Super Smash Bros. That represent their game. So with that being said, let's start the list. Number 10, Springman and Ribbon Girl. Now I think these two are basically a no-brainer. After the announcement of the Inklings being in Super Smash Bros., some reason they just seem like the best next thing. With that, I'm not necessarily a fan of ARMS, but I have seen the game and I just think they would fit perfectly fine in the game. So I'm like, why not put them? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are fans of ARMS would like to see them in the game. As for the characters go, I think it would be good to put Springman and Ribbon Girl because they can do the same thing that they did with Fitness Trainer. Ribbon Girl can be Springman's alternate costume, and they won't have to worry about using multiple slots for very similar characters. Number 9, Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is a pretty obscure character. I mean, he's a knight that fights with a shovel, and he fits perfectly with the rest of the Nintendo roster because Nintendo is known for also having obscure characters. I mean, they have a plumber that fights a turtle dragon that saves a princess. They have a gorilla that wears a tie, so why not put a knight that fights with a shovel? Also, he does come from an indie game, so I don't think it'll be that hard for Nintendo to obtain him, and I'm sure the developers will gladly lend him to Nintendo. Number 8, Bomberman. Bomberman is kind of in a weird position with me because it seems like he's just a character that floats around that nobody really cares about, but then it does seem like he has a decent fan base and a following. Me, myself, I don't really care for him that much, but I do give my boy that respect because he does come from the same time period as like Mario, Sonic, and Pac-Man. So I'm like, why not? To boost his popularity, put him in Smash. It's that simple. Number 7, Isaac. I've never actually played Golden Sun, so I can't say too much about the character, but I am familiar with his game. Now, the reason why I do have him pretty high on the list because I do think he has an overall cool design, and he seems like a really cool character. And I'd like to see forgotten characters make a comeback. Number 6, Callus. Callus is one of those characters I believe is very underrated. And the reason why I say that is because I don't see that many Nintendo fans talk about Callus or Bats and Kaitos as a game. And it kind of makes me wonder, do people really know what this game is, or do they have any clue that this game ever exists? And it was a very good game, but it was just overlooked because it's not one of the mainstream Nintendo games, but it was one of the best RPGs that you can play on a Nintendo console. I believe Callus will be a perfect character for Super Smash Bros. Because after seeing characters like Pit, I've always wondered why they didn't put him in Brawl because he seemed like a perfect fit. And seeing that Pit got introduced in Brawl, and he didn't even have a game at that time in a long time. But I have to say, if they do put Callus, they have to make him have his own fighting style. Don't try to make him like Pit, because as you guys can see in the video, he can fly. So I don't want them to make him kind of like Pit or rip off of Pit. Kind of like how they made Ganon fight like Captain Falcon, which doesn't really make sense. He kind of favors Marth and Ike, so people may mistake him as a Fire Emblem character. And I hope that wouldn't necessarily give him backlash, because people may not want so many Fire Emblem characters in a Smash game. But I do hope this time they'll actually just look back and just think about some of the old characters they have, or the characters that got overlooked and overshadowed by many of the big Nintendo characters. Number 5, we have Sora. I would have put Sora a little bit higher on this list, but he does still seem more like a PlayStation character. And to further prove my point, they did have the Kingdom Hearts HD remasters that came exclusively to PlayStation. Not to mention that the new Kingdom Hearts game doesn't even have a Switch release as of yet. But I wanted to make this list more catered to the Nintendo characters, or the characters that feel more at home at Nintendo. Though Sora kind of plays both sides, I guess, but you know, he still feels a little bit more at home with PlayStation. But I still think it would be cool to see Sora in Super Smash Bros. Number 4, Adam. Now I feel that a lot of people will know who Adam is because Body Harvest seemed like a semi-popular game that was on the 64. And I think Adam is a good choice because of the fact that he is actually a character that has a gun. And I know one of the complaints about Super Smash Bros. Was that there were too many characters with swords. And clearly Adam doesn't use a sword. But I'm sure a lot of people probably would call him a male version of Samus, even though he's kind of nothing like Samus, but he kind of does have a similar design. Anyway, I would love to see Adam in Super Smash Bros. Switch because Body Harvest was one of my favorite games back on the 64. And it would be really cool if his game could get a sequel. Number 3, Saya. Saya is actually a character I've wanted in Super Smash Bros. For a very long time since Melee. Her game came out around the same time as Super Smash Bros. Melee, a little bit before. It was about a month before. But I do believe if they put her in Super Smash Bros. Melee, she could have actually become a very popular character, and it could have actually got a sequel because her game was planned to have a sequel, but it got canceled due to popularity and people not really buying the game. One of the things I did like about this game as a kid, the sprites were very lifelike and they had an actual flow, unlike most 2D platformers. And I really liked her design because it kind of reminded me of Alondra, and I'm not one of those people who hate a character because they favor or look similar to another one. I hope Nintendo would look back on this and actually put some of the old characters that they forgot about, but I'm sure her chance of being in the new Super Smash Bros. Is slim to none. Number 2, Rayman. Now Rayman is one of those characters that just been highly requested for a long time now, and it seemed like they do not want to put him. I'm like, this guy's been requested before Smash was even thought of. People have been requesting for him to be in Smash, and they still haven't put him in Smash. So I'm like, I don't really know why he hasn't been in it yet. It seems like they're trying to savor him or something, but I just don't know. I'm not really the biggest Rayman fan, but I do enjoy his games, and I do think his games are fun, and they're really good. I don't know, if he's not in this game, I think it's safe to say that he's not going to be in Smash, period. Because being requested that long and not being in the game, that's a shame, man. Nintendo, you need to get on it. Number 1, Travis Touchdown. Now, I believe my boy Travis has a big chance of being in Super Smash Bros. Because he does have an upcoming game. And tell me, what's a better way of promoting his game than putting my boy in Super Smash Bros? You know, he looking like Brad Burns from Virtual Fighter. You know, come on. You gotta put this dude in Super Smash Bros. And I think he deserves a spot. I think he should have been in a while back, and I think he probably should have been in the one for Wii U, but they didn't. They skipped out on him. So I think this time, you know, they need to go back and look at him because, you know, he's getting that game. So I'm pretty sure that they will put him in this one. But before I go, I have some honorable mentions because this was a very hard list, and I actually had to scrap a lot of characters off. I wasn't originally going to have honorable mentions, but so many characters got scrapped, and I wanted to give myself guidelines. So I mainly wanted to put Nintendo related characters. And like I said before, if you guys want me to make another list, I can always do that. So with that, here are the honorable mentions. Now, there were many more characters I wanted to add to my list and to the honorable mentions, but the list would just go on and on. And before I go, quick shout out to Lynn and Vice to Determine. That's where I got the Lady Saya and the Bat and Kaito's gameplay from. So head over to their channel, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. I'll put a link to their channel in the description down below. So you guys comment down below and let me know who would you guys like to see in the new Super Smash Bros. With that, don't forget to power by hitting that like button, subscribe to join the guild, and as always, my boys and girls, have a good one and game over.